Tonight, St. Louis, the gateway to the West, becomes the gateway to the best night in all of sports. Athletes and coaches from all over North America are here to be recognized, not just for their talent, but for their class.
This, to me, is better than a win because character means a lot.
It's a chance to shine the spotlight on people who inspire us and the moments that lift us up.
It just changed everything for me.
And one of the greatest female athletes of all time is here to be honored for lifetime achievement. We're celebrating those who set an example of sportsmanship in the tradition of Stan the Man Musial, one of baseball's greatest players and ambassadors.
From the historic Peabody Opera House in St. Louis, it's the Musial Awards presented by Maryville University. Here's our host, Mike Bush.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome to the Musial Awards, and thank you for joining us for the most meaningful night in all of sports. If you're looking for a little hope and inspiration and want to feel good about the human spirit, you've come to the right place. The honorees you're about to meet are being recognized for their extraordinary sportsmanship. They represent the best in sports and humanity, just like the baseball legend for whom these awards are named, Stan the Man Musial. In the leadoff spot tonight, a high school shortstop from Ohio. In June, Dion Putoff came through with an impressive gesture of class and selflessness. It's one of this year's great moments of sportsmanship.
When it comes to baseball, Cincinnati is known for its Reds. But on this day at Great American Ballpark, there was a force of a different color. The Reds were honoring the orange of Minster High School.
I honestly never thought I was going to be on field level before.
It was a well-deserved moment. But the lasting memory of Minster State Baseball Championship wasn't what the players got, but what was given. Minster, Ohio is about 110 miles and decibels from Cincinnati.
It's a town of about 3,000 people, predominantly German Catholic, one school in town.
One school, but 30 state championships in team sports. It's a tradition of pride and pressure.
You have a person that has probably just graduated when you step into the program that was pretty good at their job, and you got to step right in there, and there's a little bit of pressure with that, yes.
Of course, enough pressure can make a diamond, but it can also burst a pipe. And the 2017 season started off leaking steam.
We played Russia in game 2 of our season, and it was like 17-6. Russia beat us.
They just kicked our butt that day. They have a lot of good players.
Spelled like Russia, Russia is 12 miles south of Minster and less than half the size.
They got 30 state titles, so, I mean, there's something big to look at. I mean, we only have one.
Oh, yeah, I can still throw a little bit.
But like an antique, love for baseball in Russia gets passed down from generation to generation. Shortstop Dion Putoff still plays catch with his granddad.
Just something, my family grew up, they all loved baseball, and they, you know, it was kind of a big deal.
It turned out that first meeting between Russia and Minster in 2017 would not be their last.
It's the Division IV State Baseball Championship.
It's June 3rd in Columbus, Ohio, and the two teams meet again in the finals of the Class 4 State Championship.
It was just electric. The entire community was there supporting and believing.
We trailed on almost every game in the postseason,
and we guys were tested and we're ready.
It may have been an athletic event, but the game would have made any school drama department proud. Ohio high school games are 7 innings long, and this one was tied 1-1 in the bottom of the 7th.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they don't pitch around him because
Minster had the winning run at second.
One of the water boys or managers came up to me and said, "This is going to go into extra innings, right?" And I said, "No, John's going to get a walk-off here."
John is John Niemeyer, Minster's best hitter.
It was kind of an outside pitch, and I just went with the pitch.
1-0. Swung on, hit in the air, down the left field line. Monin giving chase, he's not going to get there. And the Minster Wildcats are the state champions.
In a single moment, both ecstasy and agony.
You knew, like, this is why you played baseball, for that reason, that game right there.
Your heart kind of drops out because, you know, they've worked so hard and you think, oh, why couldn't we just had one more chance?
In the excitement of the game-winning hit, John Niemeyer lost track of the game-winning ball.
Did it ever even cross your mind? Where's that baseball?
No,
Never?
honestly, it honestly didn't.
Down the left field line, Monin giving chase, he's not going to get there. And the Minster Wildcats are the state champions.
Rushi's Dion Putoff didn't give it much thought either, but he had it in his glove.
I ran past the ump expecting him to want it and to throw it to him, but he didn't.
Did he say anything about it?
Yeah, we talked about it. He's like, well, what do I do with this? And we just kind of laughed about it and figured he'd just keep it or just use it sometime, just like any old ball.
Honestly, I said I would have found the nearest dumpster. and yeah, because of, you know, what happened.
After all, he had a ball from a game he wanted to forget. But the decision he made next was one to remember.
It was about the next day. I was just, I don't know, woke up, just started thinking about it, looking at it, and I just realized he didn't, like, appreciate it more.
Dion decided the ball should belong to the game's hero, John Niemeyer. He could have just mailed it or dropped it off at school. He could have, but he didn't. Instead, he found out where the Niemeyers lived, drove there, and delivered the baseball with this note.
I picked this up at the end of the game as something to remember my experience by. After thinking about it, I realized it would mean a lot more to you to have your game-winning hit ball. You played a great game, and I want you to have it. Congrats on a great season and great career, Dion Putoff.
To go to those lengths and actually come to the door, come to our house and drop that off and take the time to write that note, I thought that was really impressive.
Brian Niemeyer tweeted the picture of the ball and the note, and word began to spread. With that simple gesture, Dion Putoff turned a championship loss into a win.
As a history teacher and you ask kids to turn on the TV at night to watch the 30 minutes of news, most of what you watch is the bads. And when something good comes along like this, it's really, really something to write home about.
Yeah, you hate to not win that last game, but
this to me is better than a win because character means a lot, you know?
For me, I mean, obviously I'd want to win state, but this is okay, I guess.
Minster's victory will forever be etched on the Ohio State baseball trophy. But for many, Dion Putoff's gesture will be etched in their memories.
That kid is something else. He's a special kid.
2 communities in Ohio are now big believers that there's no such thing as a small gesture of kindness.
What he did, and brings a smile to everybody's face.
So, To present tonight's first Musial Award, we're delighted to have with us the person who is on the receiving end of Dion's sportsmanship. Please welcome from Minster, Ohio, John Niemeyer. And from Russia, Ohio, here's Dion Putoff.
You can see all of tonight's honoree interviews in their entirety at musialawards.com and join the conversation using #MusialAwards. Up next, a complete stranger comes to the aid of a young cheerleader missing her military dad, and in the process lifts the spirits of an entire community. And later, the pinnacle honor at the Musial Awards will be given to a woman some call the greatest female athlete of all time. Why, she's also a gold medalist off the track.
Maryville University is honored to be the presenting sponsor of the Musial Awards. We're proud to play a role in celebrating sportsmanship in America and the legacy of Stan the Man. The event and the honorees inspire all of us to be good sports. So on behalf of Maryville, the third fastest growing private university in the nation, enjoy the Musial Awards, one of the great nights in all of sport.
You know, what often stands out about our Musial Award honorees is their ability to instantly react to a situation. When the need arises for someone to step up and do something remarkable, they don't hesitate. Matthew Garcia has that gift, and with it, he gave us an uplifting example of kindness and empathy.
SJB, we're ready.
In cheerleading, as in life,
Fight we will bring.
It's always good to be around people
and bridge
who lift you higher.
Leg up. That's a back walkover.
Though she's just 10, no one knows that better than Addie Rodriguez, who was born with spirit in her veins.
Go Eagles.
My daughter is bright, bold, and brave.
She started cheering for two reasons. First,
I just thought it was like a fun thing to do after school.
Second, she was looking for a distraction. Her dad, Abel Rodriguez, is in the military. As a senior airman, he served in both Iraq and Afghanistan as part of a security force.
The hardest part was just leaving my family.
I kept on asking my mom, when's Daddy gonna come home? And it was kind of hard for me.
It got especially hard one afternoon while cheering at San Antonio's Central Catholic High School. But that's also where she found some shoulders to climb on. 18-year-old Matthew Garcia just graduated from Central Catholic, where he was one of the top runners on the cross-country team.
I like cross-country because I can just run and not have to think about anything.
Garcia was thinking about making the state finals last year at the end of the season qualifying race. Days before, however, he donated blood at the school blood drive.
For me, it's just a sport, it's just a race. I can always run, but you know, this could be life or death for people.
As it turned out, giving blood was probably the reason he had to give up on that state finals dream.
I took off a little too fast. I was in the lead for a little while, and then it hit me.
After a disappointing finish, Matthew wanted to talk to his mom. So he went over to Central Catholic, where she was watching her other son's middle school football game. She took a moment to console him.
You've done great all 4 years. One race doesn't determine who you are.
The race didn't tell us who Matthew is, but the next few minutes did. It was about this time that Addie was getting ready for her next routine, when all the cheerleaders were joined by their dads.
A few days before the game, the fathers had rehearsed a routine with their cheerleading daughters. But Addie missed practice that day. Her father was going back to the base in California, and she was saying goodbye.
It was kind of hard for me to know that he was gone. So when he left again, was hard for me to say bye.
It's hard to see him go.
And Addie was still emotional when all the other dads lifted their daughters on their shoulders.
And I said, Matthew, look. And he turned, and then just in the blink of an eye, he took off. And I thought, what's going on?
What was going on is that Matthew was running out of the stands, jumping 2 fences, and kneeling beside Addie.
He was like, do you want to get up on my shoulder? And then I was like, I nodded my head and I was still crying, but then like all after that, it just happened so fast.
In that moment, Matthew gave Addie wings.
I just cried, honestly. I was amazed. I was really sad to see her struggle and go through that, especially because her dad's in the military. And then it was so sweet too to see that a complete stranger would do that for somebody else.
It might have been a small gesture, but it was the biggest thing in the world to me because he did something that I should have been doing.
It all happened so fast that the Rodriguez family didn't even know Matthew's name until days later when Addie's mom put a query on Facebook. That's when it seemed all of San Antonio learned about the story.
We're coming off the street, coming in, wanting to give a thank you letter to Matt, wanting to know who this individual is.
There was one person who didn't understand what all the fuss was about.
I was thinking it was just a little thing I could do to make somebody's day. It wasn't a big gesture, I didn't think.
After helping to mend one heart, Matthew is now at Baylor University studying to become a cardiologist.
I know that I'd be making a difference in people's lives, like a major difference in their lives.
To this day, he'll tell you what he did was just a little thing. But for one family, it meant everything.
I'm happy that everyone else has gotten a chance to see what I've always seen in him.
There were 100 people in the stands who could have done the same thing, and no one did. He did.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Matthew Garcia, a young man who put a young girl on his shoulders and lifted us all.
It just changed everything for me.
We have a few special guests to present the Musial to Matthew. It's an honor to welcome Addie Rodriguez, her mom Alexis, and her dad, U.S. Senior Airman Abel Rodriguez. And now, he's a part of the family, clearly, from San Antonio. There's Matthew Garcia.
College football has a long list of great traditions still to come. The reason a new tradition in Iowa may be the most meaningful of them all. The Musial Awards are brought to you by Maryville University. Many connections, one you at maryville.edu. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. And Southern Glazers, we are family. The Musial Awards salute college football's newest and most heartwarming tradition. At the end of the first quarter of every home game this season, Iowa Hawkeye fans turn to the patients at Iowa Children's Hospital to share a simple yet profound gesture, a wave. 70,000 people get into the act, but it was the work of 2 who got it all started. The idea came from Hawkeye fans Krista Young and Levi Thompson. And now every football Saturday in Iowa City, a collective spirit is bringing a little joy to those battling illness. It's an example of sport doing good, all thanks to a genuine, heartfelt idea from 2 caring fans, amplified by the Hawkeye faithful.
How about everybody stand up and wave? And I'm going to do a Musial Awards wave for the kids, and we'll tweet it out to all of them. Come on behind me, so I'm not real good at these selfies. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Straight ahead, how 2 special Olympic athletes showed everyone that winning isn't everything, when you have the chance to do the right thing. Tonight, the Musial Awards launches the most meaningful club in sports, the Good Sport Club. You can join by pledging to show respect, effort, and fun. Help us build the movement. Take the pledge at goodsportclub.org.
Now, over the summer, we learned of two athletes from Oregon who went above and beyond with an act of graciousness and integrity. As you'll see, there's something truly special about the sportsmanship they initiated.
It seems no matter where you drive in Oregon, you're always taking the scenic route. But recently here in Medford, Mother Nature took a backseat to human nature. Meet Carla Collins and Caleb Carter. They are friends and bowling teammates for Douglas County Special Olympics.
I think Oregon has an amazing program for Special Olympics.
Special Olympics is the world's largest sports organization for people with intellectual disabilities.
In Special Olympics, we have an oath, and it goes, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Hi there.
Ask their parents and they'll tell you, to Caleb and Carla, the Special Olympics mean everything.
You got this, girl.
But people can't stop talking about that time they did the right thing.
Looking good. Oh.
In June of 2017, the Special Olympics regional competition came to Medford.
All right, Red's got the Paulina.
And Carla and Caleb were among the finalists in their spring sport, bocce ball.
Nice set. Red point, green throw. Bocce ball is an Italian sport, and it's similar to lawn bowling.
The game starts with the Paulina.
A marker ball, a Paulina, a small white ball, is thrown out onto the court, and then the goal is for each, we play two-person team, so each team to get their 4 balls closest to that white Paulina.
Woo!
We were up against 2 really good teams.
How good were they?
Good.
They were good.
It came down to the final 2 teams, Caleb and Carla versus Kevin Struffert and Dan Aho, and a lot was on the line.
After you get first place, you go automatic to a state.
That's right, the winner of the regionals gets to move on to the state finals.
It was like they won a point, we got a point. They got a point, we got a point.
After the final game, when the final scores were counted, the gold medals were awarded to Carla and Caleb.
And so what happened when you got the gold medal?
I started crying.
You started crying?
When an athlete receives a gold medal, it is a serious treasure, something they treasure for life.
But there was a problem. A mistake had been made. A judge had transposed the numbers, and Caleb and Carla actually finished in 2nd place.
According to Special Olympic rules, if a mistake is made, you never take away a gold medal from a competitor. You might give a second one, but you never take one away. But Caleb and Carla had other ideas.
Okay, let's get a bocce in this frame.
They turned the mistake into a lesson.
Beautiful.
They decided they couldn't keep medals they didn't earn, so they took them off their necks and placed them around the necks of the rightful winners.
There was no second guessing, no thinking about it. They just wanted to do what was right because the other team deserved it.
Why did you want to give it up?
Right thing.
The right thing.
Yes. I was really surprised, but I was really happy. Even though we're not on the same team, we actually have sportsmanship for everybody else.
Sportsmanship for everybody else.
It took just a moment, but the impact is lasting.
Our disability community, they have a huge heart that is oftentimes not seen by the general public.
I just think it's very refreshing to see you can have competition, true competition, you can strive to win, and yet still be a good sport and not have to win at all costs.
Special Olympians Carla Collins and Caleb Carter, showing that sometimes giving up gold can have a silver lining.
I feel that it embodies everything we want Special Olympics to represent.
From Roseburg, Oregon, it's our pleasure to honor Caleb Carter and Carla Collins.
Two teenage boxers team up to fight injustice. Up next, how they made history. Welcome back to the Musial Awards, presented by Maryville University and produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission.
So next, we head to Orlando and step into the ring with two high school-aged boxers. A gesture of kindness and an enduring camaraderie are helping to blaze a trail in their sport.
The toughest people don't always have the biggest muscles. 17-year-old Amaya Zafar packs a punch, but her coach never talks about her fists, only her heart.
First one in the gym, last one out.
She began boxing shortly after her father suggested she try the sport of fencing.
She said, "You're joking. I'd rather get punched in the face than have somebody poke a sword at me."
Within the week, she was watching YouTube videos.
They were like, "This is a jab, this is a cross," and I was like, "Okay, you know."
As a workout, boxing targets the entire body, and it's 2 for 1, cardio and strength. But after a year or so, Amaya wanted the ring, and not the kind you wear on your finger.
Don't ever come for me and say I can't. You know, just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I can't fight.
Women's boxing has only been out of the shadows a short time. USA Boxing, the sport's national governing body, didn't recognize female boxers until 1993, and only then after losing a landmark court case. And it wasn't until 2012 that they were allowed to competitively box at the Olympics.
It's difficult for girls because they don't have as many chances to compete.
Turns out it was hard to find female opponents in her hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota. But making matters worse, she had to absorb what her family believed was a low blow. Amaya is a devout Muslim, so to represent both modesty and identity, she wears a hijab under her headgear, as well as a shirt and leggings under her shorts and top.
It's saying this is who I am, that the way I conduct myself in life is based on these beliefs, and I'm proud of that.
But USA Boxing deemed it a violation of uniform regulations, so Amaya was kept out of competitions. What she needed was someone in her corner, and though she didn't know it then, that person was 1,500 miles away. Ask her family and you get the impression that they never treated 16-year-old Aaliyah Charbonnier with kid gloves, but they never expected her to wear boxing gloves.
It was never intended for her to be a boxer, so.
But this self-described girly girl didn't find the same kind of passion for sports like volleyball and cheerleading.
I like sweating and I like hard work. I didn't want to depend on my team whether I won or lost.
Finding opponents in Orlando, Florida wasn't any easier than St. Paul, Minnesota. But like Amaya, Aaliyah was earning the respect of her male gym mates.
Trains very hard, and she's always asking questions. How did I do?
The road for both boxers was uphill and paved with sweat, and it eventually led to an intersection in Kissimmee, Florida. The Sugarbird Tournament is a boxing competition featuring what they call talent of the future. Aaliyah and Amaya signed up and were on the card to fight one another. Amaya's coaches were led to believe that this time she'd get a chance to compete. But just minutes before her fight, she took yet another punch to her gut. The judges again ruled that Amaya was in violation of uniform regulations.
She comes down and sits next to me, and so like I'm kind of tearing up because I felt for her.
Since it was a forfeit, Aaliyah was awarded a championship belt, but she didn't feel much like a champion.
We didn't feel like she had earned that, you know, because they never fought. And at the same time, we kind of felt bad for Amaya's situation.
She may not have felt like a champion, but what she did next made her one. She walked over to Amaya and handed her the belt.
Like, what are you doing? Like, that's yours. Like, don't give me that. She was like, no, it's yours. Like, take it. And I was just like what?
They didn't even give her a chance to get the belt. So I was like, let me give her the belt for like at least showing up and trying.
It's a very lonely experience to be striving for something that's so important to you. And for Aaliyah to reach out and give this to her was such a valuable act of solidarity, that saying, you're not alone, I see you, I hear you, and I stand with you.
And the people at that tournament were not the only ones to see.
Even though Amaya and Aaliyah never got in the ring that day, they both won the much bigger fight.
In April, Amaya became the first boxer to wear a hijab in a sanctioned event after USA Boxing lifted its ban on the apparel. For now, it's just for local events, but it's a start.
When they said I could fight, I was like, we did it. Like, her giving me the belt is really what showed USA Boxing, like, look, this isn't right, you know? And so I really do, like, appreciate her giving, because it was like a statement.
It made me feel like proud of what happened and everything, and how a little like gesture made like a big difference.
Not many can say they were the first, but now Amaya can. It was a two-fisted approach to change, giving a whole new meaning to the phrase, fight like a girl.
Please welcome, from Oakdale, Minnesota, Amaya Zafar. And from Claremont, Florida, here's Aaliyah Charbonnier.
Still ahead, the reason an NCAA baseball team walked across the field to shake hands with their opponent in the middle of a game. The Musial Awards are brought to you by Maryville University. Many connections, one you at maryville.edu. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. And Southern Glazers, we are family. Musial Awards travel provided by Southwest Airlines. The Musial Awards salute American runner Abby D'Agostino, who turned a heartbreaking collision at the Rio Olympics into a lesson of sportsmanship, helping her opponent, New Zealand's Nikki Hamlin, who in turn helped her cross the finish line.
And ladies and gentlemen, Abby D'Agostino. Were you surprised at how this story took off? It became a headline at the Olympics. Other people are winning gold medals, but
Right.
this story made headlines.
Yeah, to me, it's just really encouraging that people see something so simple like that all of us everyone's capable of, and they're drawn to it, because I think that's what we as humans are created to do. Stuff like that, you know, act in love and selflessness. And so that's really encouraging to me that people are drawn toward it.
We also celebrate the generosity of Arizona Cardinals president Michael Bidwell an annual banquet in his hometown of St. Louis that honors local scholar athletes lost their funding when the Rams left town for Los Angeles. Mr. Bidwell stepped up and wrote the group a check for $10,000, no questions asked.
This is just a really special night. Stan Musial, I know what he meant growing up here, and to have, be able to accept this award tonight on behalf of the organization, the family, I feel like I'm just representing them. It's what my dad taught us to do, and so this is just great, and I want to thank you for the warm welcome tonight. Thank you.
All he had to do was finish, but when misfortune struck, he chose instead to finish with class. Last November, Carl Edwards was one of just 4 drivers with a chance to win the NASCAR championship in the final race of the season. With 10 laps to go, he was ahead of his rivals, but fellow contender Joey Logano tried to pass him on the restart, and the result was a crash that ended Edwards' chance at a title. He headed straight to Logano's pit box, stuck out his hand, and said, "I just want to say I appreciate the hard racing."
I think it says a lot about his character and the way he can handle things, and I think everybody really admired him for it.
I think Carl is a great role model, for myself and for kids growing up to be able to learn a lot from, and I know I did.
But I'll just say that sportsmanship to me took a long time to set in, but it's about the battle. It's about going out there and competing and enjoying it, and the results are the results, and man, it's fun when you win. That is really hard to watch up there, but it's about enjoying it, and I truly enjoyed that night, but I never expected this. I feel very humbled just to be here. This is the neatest event I've ever attended. It's really cool, so thank you.
And then there's LSU coach Paul Maneri, one of college baseball's all-time greats, who takes a sporting event salute to veterans to the next level. In games against Army and Air Force, he has his players walk across the field in the middle of the game to shake the hand of their opponent and thank them for their service. It's a moment that brings the LSU crowd of almost 11,000, the largest in college baseball, to its feet.
I want our players to understand that when they look up there at that flag and they see the stars and stripes, that behind that flag are a bunch of families, men, women, that have gone out and sacrificed for our country so that we can enjoy the things that we get to enjoy every day, like playing baseball games in college.
Present arms! Coach Maneri, we salute you on winning the Stan Musial Award for sportsmanship. Air Force, order, arms! Parade, pass!
The Musial Award salutes the national partners of the Good Sport Club and the National Sportsmanship Foundation. ENSO, Oliver Russell, the Positive Coaching Alliance, and Purpose Plus Sport. Join them by taking the pledge at goodsportclub.org. Still to come, the pinnacle honor at the Musial Awards to an Olympic legend. Follow the Musial Awards on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on the web. You can also nominate a remarkable act of sportsmanship and see all of this year's inspiring stories at musialawards.com.
We'll introduce JJK in just a moment, but first, let's paint the picture of this year's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. To do that, please welcome back David Garibaldi.
First time I saw Jackie was as a 9-year-old in Lincoln Park, eyes gleaming, smile on her face. I mean, it's like yesterday. It brings smiles to me. It's just the honesty that was displayed in her. I just want to run. I want to jump. That was it.
She's arguably the greatest female athlete in the history of the United States, or maybe even the world. She could have taken that and gone anywhere in the world. She didn't do that. She remembered where she came from. Everything that she does is about giving to other people.
You know, Jackie Joyner-Kersee changed my life. She was the first person to ever show me what it meant to have perseverance.
So growing up in East St. Louis was a constant struggle. No food on the table, no water from the faucets, no heat from the vents when winter kicked in. No one to be my hero. Ms. Kersee, you are my hero.
Through sports at JJK, you know, we want to not derive good athletes. We want to derive better people.
She inspires me that I can achieve anything. She inspires me to go to college and stay in college, to go to grad school to become what I want to be.
We are honored to have the Musial family with us to present the Lifetime Achievement Award. She's as gracious, kind, and as unassuming as they come. Whether you're talking about Jackie the athlete or Jackie the person, she was and is the greatest. The recipient of the 2017 Stan Musial Lifetime Achievement Award for Sportsmanship, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. You know, every time I've interviewed you, someone will say to me, a photographer or a producer or someone, how can she be so nice? Because you've always been such a class act. Just take me back to your upbringing and where that comes from.
You know, I think it started in our home, and all I ever wanted, it really was to make my parents proud. And, you know, they struggled, but we had a sense of belonging from the standpoint of me being able to work with a coach, Nino Fenoy, and from the time I was 9 years of age, and still he instilled in me as well as the other young girls to always be willing to give back. For me, it was always realizing that there is someone bigger and better than me. I answer to a higher being, and I can't ever forget that.
With your career, you could have gone anywhere and been a superstar anywhere, but you chose to come back to East St. Louis and give back to the community. Talk about that decision and why you made it.
You know, growing up in East St. Louis, and a lot of times all you would hear was nothing good come from our community, or people would leave and they would never claim the city. And Coach Fenoy taught all of us about giving of our time, and we didn't have a lot of financial resources, but if you could just come back and share a little bit about what you learned or how you can help someone along the way. I am so humble and I am so blessed, you know, to receive this honor. And I think the stories of I call all of us champions of heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recipients of the 2017 Musial Awards. And there you have it. On behalf of the St. Louis Sports Commission, thank you for joining us for the Musial Awards presented by Maryville University. Good night from the Peabody Opera House.